Hello and welcome to another edition of Old versus New, and this time I'm talking about the Siege Optimus Prime because, well, I literally just got him, and for the record, he is amazing. Now, I was thinking when I got him, I would maybe compare him to the very first original G1 Optimus Prime mold. I have the Pepsi Prime, but I was thinking, I think it would kind of be a more meaningful comparison to compare the very first iteration of Classics Generations Optimus to what we have now. Now, this thing was graciously sent to me by a fan, and I thank you very much for that. But I didn't get the accessories with them, so I nicked the accessories from my Age of Extinction version, which is the version I think is by far superior and obviously isn't as worn out as this one. But I wanted to compare the genuine original Classics Optimus to the new Siege one, just to kind of see how far we've come. Because let's just say we've come a long way when it comes to modern iterations of G1 Optimus in mainline retail. I'm not even talking about the masterpieces because that's a whole other story. But first I want to talk about the original Classics one because he's got some interesting things going on while at the same time he's got some issues. One issue I have with it is that he has way too much yellow. He should have the yellow there, and that's it. But no, they added this excessive yellow on his arms and on his knee pads, and even on his head. It just looks really odd to me, and it makes it feel like yellow is supposed to be a staple color of Optimus Prime, even though it really isn't. It just makes it feel too yellowy. I mean, the Classics Megatron was like green and purple and really ugly, so I think this Optimus got off pretty safe with just having some excessive yellow. He has these horrible door truck flaps on his arms, which are pretty ugly, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, he's still decent. I mean, they still look decent. They look like shields, I guess, but I'm not too into them. You can't just, flip them away. I mean, you kind of can, but it still looks even uglier. You just have to deal with them being there. And also, the cardinal sin of clear hinges. Ooh, that worries me. Every time I transform this guy, that worries me. And it's not even just on this one, it's also on the newer versions. Clear plastic. That's terrifying. Some other interesting things about this guy that I'm not too big of a fan of is the giant surfboard on his back. It just kind of looks like a surfboard to me. This is not the original one the Classics Optimus had. It has like silver on it to kind of match with this odd silver design there. It just looks a little odd on his back, but it's not too bad. And this actually transforms into its own weapon, which is interesting. Not too big of a fan of how this weapon looks. If you've ever wondered why I keep my thumbnail long, that's why. That is exactly why. Ooh. Okay. That's a weapon, I guess. I don't know. I've never been too big of a fan of it. It just looks like a very odd shape that has a little nozzle at the end of it. Not even a barrel, a nozzle. Has a nozzle at the end of it. So yeah, we're just gonna keep that in the shield mode, I guess. You could, I don't know. Fun fact: the Siege one also has a shield like that, so we're gonna be talking about that. His gun is made out of his smokestacks, which is interesting, and also the reason why he doesn't have any smokestacks in robot mode, which is kind of a staple trait of Optimus's character design. He stands up pretty fine. I just goofed him up. This transforms pretty interestingly. You kind of split it open, and then you fold those in, then you fold those in, and then it pegs onto the back of the truck. Boom, like such. I think it was definitely a different color on the original version, but this really isn't too evocative of Optimus's classic gun. I mean, it sort of is, but not too much. So there's that accessory. Articulation on this robot mode is as follows. His head's just on a swivel. Universal joints on the shoulders, swivel. He's got very stiff ratchets there. He has swivel at the waist, very stiff at the legs, but still pretty nice. Really decent knees, I gotta say. Nice and chunky knee movement. And then he just has an up and down at the feet. And there you go. Pretty serviceable. Nothing at the hands, nothing anywhere else, really. His aesthetic is one reason a lot of people like him, and that's a reason I really like him, because he's a very beautiful boy, in my opinion, especially when he's painted up like the original G1 toy. I really do love the sharp edges, and it's a really interesting take on Optimus. I feel like those Flame Toys model kits kind of were a bit inspired by this in some of the design elements. It's cool, man. It's cool. Man, I didn't realize how dirty this is. Like I said, this isn't like actually... This isn't something I've had. It was sent to me by a fan, so excuse any dirtiness or wear on it. But yeah, that's this Optimus in robot mode. I guess we're going to get down to transformation. Transformation on him is pretty interesting, and I'm actually quite the fan. So what you do, you kind of... Man, let's just say for the record, a big reason I don't do Transformers is because I'm not too good at transforming them on camera. I mean, typically when I transform them, I don't even need instructions. But when it comes to transforming them on camera, I'm like, oh, this thing does this thing does that. We all know the classics Optimus transformation. We all know that. Man, I did not realize how dirty he was. I'm sorry. I'm grossed out along with you. So then we get that there. And then this. Okay, wrong way. This goes like this. There we go. See, I swear I know what I'm doing. Then you get that there, then you put his head down. So you get that all the way down, and then you put his head down. There we go, jeez. You have his arm configured like this, and then what you do with the legs, flip the knee pad, doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop, then you whoop, and then you doop. Then you basically repeat that on the other side. After you add the final touch of the gun here, which he has the holes in the arms for, we're all good. There we go. Pretty interesting truck mode, I have to say. I am quite the fan of how it looks. Do I like this thing? Kinda, actually. I kinda do like that, but I see why people have issues with it. Thankfully, because it is that removable piece, you can remove it, but at the same time, the top of the truck does not look too pretty without it. But you could just look at it like that and like, hey, that's kind of a little more blocky and accurate. Then again, Classics was really going for its own aesthetic. It was like a modern reimagining of G1 instead of just pretty much a blatant homage and replication of G1. So this thing is definitely an interesting figure. Based off of its own design merits, I do enjoy the aesthetic of the robot mode, but I don't enjoy some of the extraneous parts from the vehicle mode. The vehicle mode, though, is pretty solid and good, and it's a good toy, man. Has pinned-in wheels, rolls pretty well. I like it. Okay, now it's time to talk about Siege Optimus Prime. He's about the same size as the Classics Optimus, which I'm very happy for, even though he's $10 more expensive. But that's not really what we're talking about here. There's like a 12-year difference between the figures, so there's going to be some inflation. The robot mode is pure G1. It is just pure, absolute G1. This head sculpt is pure G1. And the first thing I talked about with the Classics was issues I had in the robot mode, and I figured I'll talk about some issues I have with this robot mode, which are very small. I don't like this thing hanging off his arm. It's just a little ugly, but it's not too bad. And I don't like that his shield axe has to peg on like that. I mean, his back is clean, but I feel like it could be a little cleaner. But then again, have you seen the new Masterpiece anime version of Optimus? That backpack is just a little chunky, if you ask me, for a Masterpiece. I mean, yeesh. So yeah, the robot mode has quite the cool aesthetic going on. For accessories, he does have this shield, which looks cool, and I like it. You can tab it on, and it looks cool, and I like it. It's a pretty neat shield. But it's not really something that G1 Optimus is known for, so that's an interesting inclusion. But there's more to the shield than meets the eye. Woohoo! What is this? Is this an axe? Looky there. It's an axe. Pretty cool looking axe. I wish these parts were clear. Maybe like the same clear blue that's in the chest. But it's not too big of a deal. He holds it pretty good, but I don't really like where he holds it. I wish he could hold it more in the middle here, because I just think that looks a little... Oh, Who holds an axe at the very tip of the axe? It just doesn't look too cool to me. Then his other accessory is his iconic blaster, which, what can I say, man? That's Optimus Prime's gun. Looking pretty good. And he has various little holes you could peg it on. Of course, you could also put the big reason these holes are here is for Cog and all those guys. It can, like, be armor. You know, he's got all the hard points. Overall, man, it's a very nice robot mode. The aesthetic is good. He has all this weathering on him, which I see why some people would not like that, but me personally, I think it looks kind of cool. And it doesn't really distract too much. It's kind of a subdued gray, so you don't look at it and think, man, why is he so messed up? And it's only when you look really close you see how war-torn he is. Articulation, ball jointed head this time around, so you get a lot of wiggle and giggle like Booba. This thing is on a bit of a joint, which is weird. I mean, you can get some more up motion, maybe for some different shots where you don't really see it, but it's a giant gaping hole. Shoulders, universal. He has these flaps for the smokestacks that move out, which are really nice. He has pretty solid elbow bend, pretty solid. He has wrist swivels, which is something the classics did not have. This one also does, so that is appreciated. His legs kick forward pretty decently, side pretty decently. Why do you want your robot's legs moving backward? That's not a natural moving position. He has a little bit of a thigh swivel, but he fully makes up for that with the full knee swivel. His knee articulation is incredible. That is full knee bend. So you can... Unfortunately, his armor kind of prevents him from getting a cool crouching pose, but he can... No, he really can't. He really can't crouch, unfortunately, which is something even the Studio Series Voyager can do. And then he has a bit of a toe joint, and he also has an incredible little toe tilt, which is always appreciated. So there we go. There's the articulation on this bad boy. Really cool Optimus Prime. Let's get him transformed. Transformation on this one is pretty involved, I have to say. I've only transformed it once before, so let's all laugh at J4 as he fails miserably. So the first thing you want to do is open up the chest and then put the head in, because that's a thing you have to do. Unpeg the back, swivel it around, you take this, and you pretty much just unravel it. You keep these kind of straight for now, otherwise they're going to get in the way. Then you take this piece out, which is a piece, and then you just kind of leave it like this. This is going to be its configuration in truck mode, because he has these really interesting designs for the front of the truck. The arms, well, first I want to do this, because this is actually kind of crucial for the wheels. You want to bend that back like that, and then you want to take the wheels here. Yet again, the reason why I have my nail long. Then you want to put them down. And I really do like how the wheels tuck into the side of the torso. I do appreciate that. Because see, on the classics, yet again, just pulling in the other one, they're just kind of hanging off his back. Once you have those wheels out, you still want to leave them down just for now. And then his legs. His legs have some interesting things going on. You want to rotate these parts like such. You want to bend the feet in, because that's typically what Optimus Primes have going on. You want to unpeg this side panel, then flip this in. Then same, and then you take this, and then you flip it over. It's really cool. I really do love that motion. So yeah, this piece is going to end up tabbing into the thigh right there, as well as tabbing into the arm. So we want to get the arms done first, which the arms are pretty basic Optimus Prime fare. You move them back, you kind of bend them up. But then the other things you do, you take that piece that I didn't like too much in robot mode, swivel it around, then you put that panel up, then you kind of tab that in. Then you take the wheel and you move that up, and then you tab the legs together. That's important. This is where the whole order of operations is really important, and this is where I just kind of mush fake it. This is where I just move things and shift them out of the way until it works. Because I don't read the transformations. I figured this out on my own. I was just like, yeah, man, I can do it, and I did. So then you get this in there, and then you get the wheels. Okay, the wheels are good. But we're going to need to make sure these kind of flay out a little bit more. So let's kind of untab those again, because we're going to need to make sure they're out enough to get this in. And then before we do that, we got to get that open again. Oh man, what a... Whoa. Not what a nightmare. What a difficult thing to do on camera. How about that? And then you kind of have a little matrix detail there, but it's only in truck mode, which is interesting. Then you kind of close that up. And then you just close it all up. And... tab those into the front. That's why I had them splayed out again. And then get the wheels up front. And there we go, man. There's Optimus Prime in his truck mode. And I gotta say, for being like a G1 homage Cybertronian design for Optimus Prime, this is quite exquisite. This truck just looks so cool to me. I love all these extra lights up front. It just looks so Cybertronian. While at the same time, it still looks a lot like G1 Prime. He still has the gas tanks, he still has the wheels, even though these are covered up by the armor pieces, which I think looks cool. Kind of gives him an armored truck look. It's just a really nice, sleek truck. And the funny thing is, even though they're about the same size in robot mode and vehicle mode, I feel like the classics is much bigger. Maybe the classics. I mean, the classics has these giant shells that cover up a pretty big chunk, and he also has a kind of big backpack. So that's probably where a lot of the extra mass comes from. When it comes to the weight, I think the classics is a little heavier, but then again, he has some more extra junk hanging off of him, so that could be it. Weapon storage on the robot, on the vehicle mode here, I mean, you can just put it anywhere. There's like 50 holes on this thing. He also does have the little pegs, kind of all scattered about for the little blast effects that come with the Target Masters, which is also a really cool gimmick this line has. This one doesn't roll as well as the classics, in my opinion. Let's have a little race here. Oh, man. Well, I guess I'm proven wrong. It actually kind of goes a little better. But overall, man, comparing the classics generations Optimuses, I think we have a new king, especially when it comes to the Voyager class. Because, I mean, we have the Power of the Primes leader. It's really cool, but it's very, very much made for the Orion Pax gimmick. I think this is probably the go-to classics Optimus from here on out until we get one that is somehow better. So there we go. There's the old versus new, or old versus new of the Generations Optimus Prime. I think once I get the Walmart reissue of G1 Optimus, I'll probably do a comparison with this guy and the G1. But I really want to do a comparison of the Classics version and the new Siege, because I felt like this was just a little more meaningful, because these are kind of competing with each other. So I really wanted to do this. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Check out my social media links down below, as well as my P.O. Box address. If you want to send me some awesome stuff like this Optimus Prime here, thank you very much yet again. Awesome stuff. Have a good day. Bye, I guess. I don't know. I might do a Megatron one. I might not.